Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a brand new Shadow Pokemon in the world of Pokemon Go, Shadow LUXRAY. LUXRAY is a pure electric type Pokemon with the moveset of Snarl, Crunch, and Wild Charge. Now LUXRAY is definitely a glass cannon, so adding the Shadow means those Wild Charges are going to hit even harder, but also means it is going to be very susceptible to fast move pressure. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out if Shadow LUXRAY is worth the investment for the Ultra League. Hopping into the first match, leading Shadow LUXRAY into Walrein. This is definitely where we want to see Walrein on this team. They're going to save switch into Trevenant. I farm up, go for the catch on a Shiftry, but I'm slightly slow with my timing. I'm going to let the Seed Bomb through. That does do a decent amount of damage, and I'm going to bring in Shiftry. As you can see, Shadow LUXRAY is extremely glassy. Even a neutral Seed Bomb is going to do a massive amount of damage. I tank the Shadow Ball. I'm going to overfarm quite a bit with Shiftry and fire off the Foul Play. This way, I leave with a ton of energy, so if they bring in the Walrein, I'm going to be able to deal a massive amount of damage to it. Opponent is waiting out the switch timer, and then they choose to bring in their third, which is going to be Nidoqueen. Things are looking very nice for me alignment-wise in this match. I'm going to be able to land 2 Leaf Blades. The second one is either going to be getting them very close to the red or grabbing a shield. They decide to let it through, and honestly, that is fine by me, as I can bring in the Walrein. This is just a Poison Fang. I'm not going to have to shield this whatsoever. I do decide to let it through. If I remember, unfortunately, this Poison Fang does ending up third shielding for my opponent, but it doesn't end up affecting the game outcome. They bring in their own Walrein, and I'm going to stay in here. I am debuffed, but I'm still not in a range where an Earthquake is going to KO. So I'm going to fire off the Earthquake, and they actually decide to commit the shield. Honestly, that sounds good to me. I'm just going to let this through, wait for them to Earthquake, and then it is LUXRAY time. In comes LUXRAY, and they're going to fire off the Icicle Spear. But from here, I should be able to reach the back-to-back Wild Charges, and they do not have enough shields for the amount of Wild Charges. Firing off Wild Charge number 1. That is going to get the shield, and Wild Charge number 2 is going to be goodbye, Mr. Walrein. Shadow LUXRAY taking down the Walrein. Back in comes the Nidoqueen, but I have the move loaded on my own Walrein. Icicle Spear is going to be taking out their Nidoqueen, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, and Shadow LUXRAY into Talonflame. It's definitely nice to catch this on the lead. That way I can keep it away from my Shiftry in the back. I do farm up quite a bit, and I'm going to be going for the Crunch bait. Crunch does have the chance to get the defense drop as well. We're able to get the shield from Talonflame, and we get the Snarl through as they fire off a move. That is fantastic. I'm just going to keep farming up here. Talonflame is firing off another move, and I am going to be committing that final shield. Let's see if we can win the 2 shield here. I'm going to be firing off the Wild Charge. This is going to make my defense lowered, which is going to make that Incinerate do a ton of damage, but on very low HP, I'm able to reach the last second Wild Charge. Shadow LUXRAY takes down the Talonflame, and we're able to win the lead. And that proves to be very important, because in the back, they have a Shadow Walrein. And this way, I get to align it onto my Walrein, where I can pretty safely neutralize their energy. They're going to go for the Earthquake. I'm going to overfarm quite a bit here. Go for it, but they make an incredible catch, catching the Earthquake onto Trevenant. And now, I am in a bit of trouble. I'm going to farm up some energy and then bring in Shiftry. Shiftry does have a dominating matchup here, but still has to be careful because a Shadow Ball would do quite a bit of damage. I am going to tank the Shadow Ball. Trevenant fires off a Seed Bomb, and I think because they didn't try and commit to a second Shadow Ball, I think I can farm down here. Shiftry goes for the farm down and gets it. The question is, can we survive a Powder Snow? Firing off Leaf Blade number 1, this will not KO, and we do survive the Powder Snow. Shiftry clutching it up in the end game, and that is a good game. Nightmare lead in the next match, Shadow LUXRAY into Scrafty. I have 0 counter resist on my team, so if they actually shield the Wild Charges, I'm in a lot of trouble here. This is enough for a Foul Play, but I'm going to call only a Power-Up Punch, and it is. That's massive. Farming up, and I'm able to reach the back-to-back Wild Charges. These would do massive damage onto Scrafty. They shield the first, and I'm firing off the second. This way, we get both shields, or we deal a ton of damage, and we get both shields, and it's a CMP tie. Honestly, that's fantastic, as that does force Scrafty to waste their energy. The bad news is now there's a double buff Scrafty, and the entire rest of my team takes super effective damage from counter. They go for another power-up punch. I should barely be able to reach the back-to-back Icicle Spears, but unfortunately, these are not going to be enough to take down the Scrafty, so I'm going to have to rely on 2 Shield Shiftry to try and close out this match. Thankfully, we do have shield advantage courtesy of that Shadow Luxray, but man, Shiftry is going to need all the help that it can get. I shield up the power-up punch, undertap, and I'm able to fire off the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade is going to be taking down that Scrafty, and we are finally able to get rid of it. I just need whatever's in back to be weak to Shiftry. We'll have to see what they have. They have Tapu Fini, and things are looking good, and they have Cofagrigus. Oh my goodness, the perfect Pokemon for Shiftry to see. Shiftry goes for the foul play. That does big damage. I overfarm, and I'm going for the Leaf Blade. This is only neutral, but I believe it should be enough to KO. It is. The question is, can we reach 2 Leaf Blades before Tapu Fini gets to the back-to-back moves? Leaf Blade number 1, able to land. We get to Leaf Blade number 2. Luxray takes the shields. Shiftry takes us home. And that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Shadow Luxray into Trevenant. I have 2 better responses in the back, so I'm going to save switch into Walrein. I overfarm, go for the Icicle Spear, but they're still able to catch despite the overfarm, and they catch the Icicle Spear onto Registeel. Very nicely timed by my opponent. Thankfully, I will be able to reach an Earthquake before they're able to reach a move, so I'm going to be firing off the Earthquake. This will not KO, but it would do enough damage that they are going to respect it with a shield. At this point, I've gotten shield advantage, so I'm just going to let the Walrein go. They go for the Zap Cannon. That does massive damage. Gets me very low. Walrein able to reach the last second Earthquake, hanging on against all odds, and I'm able to do some very nice damage onto this Registeel. And now I'm going to bring in the Shadow Luxray and try and overfarm as much as I possibly can. They go for the Focus Blast. I will commit the shield, but here I want to get an energy lead, because a Shadow Luxray with an energy lead can be incredibly deadly just because it hits really, really hard. Crunch, able to take them out. In comes the Trevenant, and I'm going to be firing off Crunch number 2. They have to shield this. I bring in Shiftry. We'll have to see what they have in the back. And they have Tapu Fini, and this game is over. I am going to be firing off the Leaf Blade. At this point, Shiftry just closes out this match, but my opponent is going to try and play it out, and interestingly enough, they go for a Surf here. Surf definitely not going to be doing nearly enough damage, so I'm just going to overfarm here quite a bit. And then I do end up going for a foul play there. Meant to go for the Leaf Blade, go for the foul play. This play does give me extra farm, but either way, I'm still in a very commanding position. As they go for another Surf, I'm able to tank it. 2 Surfs not going to be enough to KO, and I leave with double foul play loaded. Trevenant did have a move, so this is probably a CMP tie. Foul play. Almost able to take the Trevenant out, and at this point, I can just let the Shiftry go and finish off the game with Shadow Luxray. Shadow Luxray taking down the Trevenant, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Shadow Luxray into Incineroar. Incineroar is genuinely a pretty big problem for this team, so I'm definitely not too happy to see it here by any means. I'm going to no-shield this and call that it's a Flame Charge. It is a Flame Charge, but that still does a massive amount of damage onto the Shadow Luxray. I am going to be going for the back-to-back Wild Charges here. Let's get both shields or deal a massive amount of damage. Firing off Wild Charge number 2. We get both shields, and then in comes the Walrein. I should be able to tank any one move here, so I am going to let this through. Just a Flame Charge, and I'm going to try and get to the Earthquake here. Farming up, but they are going to switch out. Very nice play. They're able to save the Incineroar for later, and they bring in Cresselia. And this is not a fabulous spot for me to be in, because Cresselia typically runs Grass Knot, and Walrein's Icicle Spear just don't do nearly enough damage to this Cresselia, as this does end up being a CMP tie to the Grass Knot. From here, I am going to try and catch the second Grass Knot onto my Luxray, if at all possible. So I'm going to fire off another Icicle Spear, throw one more Powder Snow, and then go for the switch. So we farm up, switch, and we're able to catch on to that Shadow Luxray. That is huge. And then I'm going to bring in Shiftry. This is tough, but I'm hoping that if I can get a big enough energy lead, maybe 2 Leaf Blades will be enough to take out Incineroar. In comes Incineroar, and they have a Flame Charge loaded. I'm going to let this go. I am going to be trusting in the Wall Rain here, basically. I am going to be firing off the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade, not going to be enough to KO that Incineroar even after a second Leaf Blade lands. That is quite unfortunate. As I fire off the second one, it gets them low, and it's a CMP tie. So now it is all up to Wall Rain. It depends what they have in the back here. We are going for the farm down. We're able to get it. What do they have in back? They have Tapu Fini, and unfortunately, this game is over. Incineroar double shielding on the lead just made things very difficult, and I ended up not being able to align my Shiftry onto the Tapu Fini, and Tapu Fini is just cleanly going to be able to take me out here. They go for the Surf. I shielded up, just honestly didn't really have a reason for shielding there. This second Earthquake is not going to KO. Tapu Fini is going to be able to Water Gun me down, and we lose a close game. Hopping into the next match, sending Shadow Luxray into another Incineroar. Last Incineroar lead honestly didn't go too well for us, so I'm hoping that this time will go better. Like last time, I'm going to call that it's only the Flame Charge. It is, and I'm going to build to the back-to-back Wild Charges. This way, I can get both their shields down or deal a massive amount of damage. Wild Charge, able to connect, almost one-shotting Incineroar. I bank the energy, and I'm able to bring in Wall Rain. Now the Incineroar basically isn't a threat because it's almost KO'd. In the back, they have a Meloetta. Opponent bringing a massive amount of spice. You love to see it. I'm going to fire off the Icicle Spear. They tank it, and they're going to fire off what is probably a Psyshock here. They do go for the Psyshock. That's going to take me out. But now I can bring in Shiftry. And Shiftry does have a very nice matchup here. I'm going to overfarm quite a bit and then fire off the Leaf Blade. Neutral Leaf Blade will be more than enough to take out Meloetta. We know they have the very low health Incineroar. And in the back, they have a Snarl Granbull. If that was Charm, this game would be over. But it's Snarl, so I actually have a chance. I'm going to farm up, they bring in Incineroar, I wait till the last second, bring in the Shadow Luxray, and fire off the Wild Charge. Wild Charge is going to be taking down the Incineroar, back in comes Granbull. This Granbull has a ton of energy, but close combat, unfortunately, is more expensive than Leaf Blade. So I should still be in a pretty good spot here. I'm going to be firing off the Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade does get the shield. This is going to be close. We reach the back-to-back, and that will be game over. Leaf Blade number 1 is going to be getting Granbull shield, and Leaf Blade number 2 is going to be getting the victory. Incineroar lead's definitely scary, but Shiftry able to put the team on its back yet again, and that is a good game. And now some final thoughts on Shadow Luxray. I do like how much damage those Wild Charges do. That extra damage, as you saw, nearly being able to one-shot an Incineroar with neutral damage is really fantastic. But the downside is, with the extra damage that you're taking from being a Shadow, it is incredibly susceptible to fast move pressure. As you saw, even something neutral like Shadow Claw or Counter just absolutely melts through it. So to be honest, I don't really see this as a viable meta pick for the Ultra League. It can have some niche play as a spice pick, but overall, I think there are going to be a lot more consistent electric types if you want an electric type. Something like a Shadow Ampharos, that's just going to all around perform better for you. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.